WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station.
Looking for a great way to spend your night? Check out Flex and Finesse on Thursday, October 15th from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Presented by My Own Boss Entertainment and hosted by local celebrities Bubbles and Show Off Dan. Located at the new After Midnight Club on 5300 Market Street. Pre-sale tickets are $10. Tickets at the door are $15. The dance contest will have cash prizes starting at $200. WHIP will be giving away tickets from October 5th to October 9th during Power Hour Music. For tickets and info, call or text 267-974-1856.
Now, on Philadelphia's #1 college radio station, WHIP, Rational Radio.
To another fabulous Wednesday afternoon here on WHIP, the #1 college radio station in the city of brotherly love. You're here with Ryan Goodwin and the legendary Ryan Fischella here on Rational Radio. It's November 11th, 2015. Happy Veterans Day to all you soldiers and vets out there. We thank you for your service and keep making us proud out there on the front lines.
That's right, absolutely. How are you doing today, Ryan? You've been sick for a little bit.
I've been on the verge of death.
Wow.
I've been on the verge of death.
That's not what we like to see.
I've had more drugs in me than a pharmacy the past couple days. Whoa. It's ridiculous.
And how are you feeling now?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
That's good.
Still battling back, but you know what? I'm here now, and that's all that matters.
That's right.
That's all that matters. Yeah. In the booth, working hard. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I would not did not want you to miss a Wednesday edition of Rational Radio.
No, because those are the greatest days.
Because frequently we get heated on Wednesdays.
Yes, we do.
So, we're going to dive right into it today. Lots of news to talk about, but first we are going to start off by talking about the Republican debate last night. Seems like they are coming fast and furious at this point with the Republican debates.
Every other day.
That's right.
Every other day.
And so, debate last night. Interesting. Run by Fox Business. They were hoping that it would be a much better setup than what was on CNBC. And for the highlights of it, the highlights that I watched, it seems like, it was pretty well done. The Washington Post, as they often do after the debates, they released a list of who they thought were their winners and the losers and who tops the leaderboard. None other than Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio.
And who tops the loser board?
Let me guess. Donald Trump.
That's right. Wow, how the tides have turned.
The tables have turned. The tides have shifted. We're ushering in a new era here in the Republican political campaign right now. And honestly, I can say I'm really not surprised. I'm not surprised that this happened. I felt that in the back of my mind the whole time. I was loving all this hype for Donald Trump. I was loving it. I was feeding off of it. I was coming in here all hype, all jacked up about it. We're gonna have Donald Trump sitting in the Oval Office one day. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, is this hype gonna last for another year until it's time for election? And in the back of my mind, that's there the whole time. But I kept pushing it by the wayside because I didn't want to believe it. But you know what? Here we are, and Donald Trump, other than being on SNL on Saturday night, which if you saw was hilarious, and actually his, they did like an approval rating of like how people thought he did on SNL, and him compared to when Hillary went on, he had a 47% better like approval rating of being on SNL than Hillary.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so this is, I think, really just kind of interesting to look at because I just also want to highlight the number 2 on the leaderboard, Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz, your man, the myth,
and
the legend,
so I think this is a really interesting analysis that the Washington Post does when they look at Ted Cruz, and they say he's shown under the bright lights, and they said he made a comment about the tax code having more words than the Bible. And they said that he proved that he can kind of represent the outsider candidates and that he might be the best one to kind of carry that outsider message going forward.
Maybe.
I think so. I do. I think he would be phenomenal as president. I want to say though, at the beginning of the whole presidential campaign, when Donald Trump got up there and he started talking, I mean, it was hard not to kind of be like drawn in by him and by just how open he was and how brash he was, because for the longest time I really liked Chris Christie, admired him for that quality that he had. And then to hear Donald Trump come out and say it, and then surge to the front of the polls. That's kind of what reinforced it for me, as being like, wow, like, you know, what if I voted for him when the primary came around? And I think it would have been a lot different had Donald Trump come out and said that, but not surged to the front of the polls. Had he said that and just hung around, 4%, maybe bumped up to 8%, but then fell back down to, 5% or whatever. But the fact that he was getting up into the 20s, the 20% range pretty quickly, kind of, made me think like, wow, like maybe he is the real deal. But then now I think that kind of, lasted through the summer, but then now we're starting to see a little bit of a thing of the herd, and we're starting to see some of the, the real candidates come out. I don't think that Donald Trump will be the nominee. I don't think that Ben Carson will be the nominee.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe that's just wishful thinking. I don't know. I feel like in the end, voters are going to pick someone that they can somewhat connect with, but also someone they trust to run this country.
Who's had some political experience.
Yeah, ultimately, I think it will come down to voters wanting some sort of political experience.
Yeah,
We're not seeing that in the polls right now, but I do think once we start to thin the amount of candidates who are actually in the race, I do think that will be something that is important to them.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, why all of a sudden have we seen a drop in Donald Trump in the past? It's been, the past month, you would say? Past couple weeks. So do you think that's what it is? People are realizing now that we need to have someone who has a little bit more political backing behind them rather than just that business mentality?
I do think it's that, but I think that people are liking is someone who has had maybe a diverse political experience, or maybe not a very long political experience, right?
Yeah.
Like Marco Rubio, he hasn't been in politics all that long because he's not that old. And then same thing goes for Ted Cruz. Before he was a senator from Texas, he was involved with government. He was the Solicitor General of Texas, and so basically he lobbied cases on behalf of the government in the Supreme Court of Texas. And I mean, he hasn't. Ted Cruz is only 44 years old. He's the same age as Marco Rubio, and I don't know. So I think that's something that's of value to voters. Someone that has some experience, but not necessarily has been in Congress, for 30 years.
Yeah, but they also bring that young new generation feel to the office as well.
Right, and I think that's a big part of it, honestly. I think that the fact that they are younger, they are possibly able to connect with more people. I think that's a big part of this. And I think that's ultimately what is fueling their surge going forward. And it's interesting if we look down who they said were the losers. They said Donald Trump, John Kasich, Jeb Bush, and that's it for the losers. Ben Carson was in the winners. Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina, Rand Paul. They were all in the winners. Now, we talked about yesterday how crucial that last night's debate was for Jeb Bush. Because I think he's done.
Yeah, I think at this point he's done. I believe he's done as well.
From what I saw in the debate and from what I looked at on the highlight reel from the debate, I didn't see a stellar performance from him, which is what I think he needed.
I don't think we've seen a stellar performance from him across the board, really.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I don't think so.
Going back to the very first debate where you want to come out strong out of the gate, he didn't do anything too wow, this is Jeb Bush. Father, brother, sat in the same Oval Office, and yet he didn't come out with that mentality that he needed to be strong. And I feel as though that he hasn't done that at all. So yeah. I agree. You're right. I agree. He's done. Front runners now. Like the polls are showing Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz. And I think Ben Carson is going to surpass Trump pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think we're already starting to see it in some polls.
Yeah, in some polls, but I think across the board, it's going to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that will be the case as well. One thing I do want to highlight from last night is Marco Rubio's comment that was getting lots of attention. He went on a little bit of a rant about how stigmatized vocational education is, and he's like, "Why is that the case?" He said, "Welders make more money than philosophers."
Yep, we need more welders than philosophers.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Which is true.
We do. You know,
I mean,
I
like we said yesterday on the show, college isn't for everybody.
Of course not.
And if you want to go and just start making money right away, I mean, but I do agree with him that there is a stigma attached to vocational education. Like, you're growing up and you say, hey, I'm going to be a plumber when I grow up.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I think people in this world today look down on certain jobs like that and say, "Oh, well, you're just a plumber." You know what? I respect anybody who gets up out of bed every day and goes to work and works hard. I respect you. I don't care what you do, but if you're getting up early and you're doing something, good for you. Because a lot of people in this country don't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't care what your title is. I don't care if you're CEO of a freaking hedge fund or you literally unclog toilets for a living. Good for you.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something productive.
Exactly. I mean, look at plumbers, right? I mean, to use an example, we, in my house, we've had pretty much the same plumber for as long as I can remember. Whenever we've had a problem, we've gone to the same plumber. And his work, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
He'll be at our house for half a day or a whole day, and he'll walk away $700, $600, $700. He worked. He made that in one day.
One day.
And who out in the corporate world, other than some very high level executives, but
are pulling in $700 for a half a day's work, or
right,
or
you
6
work
hours
6
of work.
hours and you can make $700.
Yeah.
And what if you don't? And let's say you don't take credit cards,
and you're just working with
cash or check.
Yeah, and it's easy money.
Right.
It's easy money, and then you have people out there who say, "Oh, well, you're just a plumber." You don't know what they're doing.
Right. They might be making more money than you are.
They're under the radar. They're not looking for the prestige. They're doing the nitty-gritty work that's paying them good money.
Right. First of all, there are always going to be pipes.
Always going to be pipes.
And there's always going to be problems with pipes. And we're always going to need someone to fix that, because I don't see in the coming future everybody buying a book on how to plumb.
Very, very true, Ryan. You make a very good point there.
And so I think that is good. Encourage the vocational education for the people who don't need to go to college. You don't need to go to college to be a plumber.
No, you don't. You don't. I mean,
or an electrician, or a carpenter.
And everyone nowadays says, you always need that diploma that says, at least I went. Well, you know what? No, sometimes you don't need that. My father never went to college, and he turned out very well. It's all hard work. The hard work gets you places, and sometimes it gets you places more better off than people who did go to college.
Yeah.
And I agree with Senator Rubio, what he said. That we do need more, because nowadays all we teach about is be creative and do this and do that. So people have their eyes on the prize, but now we're falling short on what built this country, like plumbers, like welders, like people who were building ships back in World War II and stuff like that. The nitty-gritty work that holds the framework of this nation together. We're running out of those people, and we need those people again. And a lot of people, like I said, look down on those jobs, but they're honorable jobs.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You may not be wearing a shirt and tie every day, and you might be coming home with grease all over your hands and all over your face, but you know what? You're putting food on your table for your family.
That's right.
And that's all that matters.
You know how much money? $700 for 6 hours?
That is ridiculous.
If you do that every day?
If you do that every day.
For a week? First of all, if you do it 5 days, you're going to work 30 hours a week.
Yeah. And you're raking in almost $5,000.
Yeah.
That is, I do it. I do it hands down.
$5,000 in a week for working 30 hours.
You're pulling in $250K a year before taxes. All right, you guys do the math. I don't know. I think it's a great job. If you ever want to call in, 215-204-9447.
Yeah, and on that note, we're going to move into our first break. Great discussion, though, in this first half. Honestly, let's go. Vocational education. College isn't for everybody.
College isn't for everybody.
And you don't need a degree to get a job. That's the problem with this minimum wage discussion, right?
Oh,
People don't want to do the jobs.
Don't get me started, Ryan.
We won't. That'll be for another day. So make sure to keep it tuned here to Rational Radio on WHIP Radio, Philly's #1 college radio station. As Ryan said, the number to call, 215-204-9447. We will be right back.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown-up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, is that a faucet running?
Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest.
It is?
Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep. But the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
Summer isn't fun when you're hungry.
If only I had a big test today.
Or a book report to give. Give me a math quiz.
Give me some homework.
If your child relies on free school lunches, we can help provide them with free meals this summer.
I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I'll keep my desk real clean.
So they can stop worrying about food and start focusing on fun.
I'll do extra homework. I'll clean the class pet's cage. I'll skip recess. I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
School might end, but free lunches don't have to. Find your local Feeding America food bank for help. Together, we're feeding America.
To find your local Feeding America food bank, visit feedingamerica.org/summer meals. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, and welcome to today's lottery drawing. Good luck. And here's today's winning numbers. First one up, it's not yours. Second one, not yours. And another number that's not yours. Okay, this is one number that's yours. It's a 5, but you don't get any money for that. And the final number is not yours.
Yep, so chances are you're not going to hit the lottery anytime soon. Don't get us wrong, the lottery can be fun every now and then. Just please don't rely on it for your future savings. How about this? Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte every day. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Ride your bike instead of buying all that gas. These changes alone can save you thousands a year. Thousands. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feed that piggy bank. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra. I have been in this country 32 years, and this is how I live united. America has always been the land of promise, and in my community, many families have come for a better life. Coming from another culture myself, I know the desire to become part of a community, to feel at home, and to gain the tools for our children and families to succeed. So I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to look beyond their histories and to see what opportunities are available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools, network within the community, and when we do, we unite them. We make the community stronger. What I do is something I wish someone had done for me, and I am so grateful I am able to. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunities and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Here on WHIP, the #1 college radio station in the city of brotherly love. And yes, we're about to dive into our next topic. Pretty interesting chart that Ryan found today about countries scaled to the foreign military aid they've received from the United States.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, we spend some money, a pretty penny, on other countries for military aid. I mean, a pretty penny. Ryan, you know, how much does $3.1 billion in military aid, what does that get you?
What is it? What can I, like, if I went to the store with $3.1 billion, what can I buy?
Let's say we go to the military aid store, okay? And the United States gives you a check for $3.1 billion. What are you going to get?
Some tanks.
Yep.
Some missiles.
Yep.
Let's see. What else am I going to get? I'm going to beef up the people in the military.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to have a really strong force. Probably about that. I don't know how much this stuff costs, but I mean, I don't know how much I can.
Granted, I'm thinking an average tank here. Let me figure this out.
Yeah, you look up the price of the average tank. But basically, this chart, what it does is it enlarges countries based on the amount of aid that they get from the United States. So, what is interesting to look at here, the largest country, $3.1 billion, that is Israel. And the second largest, $1.3 billion, that is Egypt. Now, we look at the United States, and we look at their relations with these two countries, right? Israel thought to be our strongest ally in the Middle East, right? And people always are trying to cut funding to Israel and the amount of aid that goes to Israel, when I think that, you know, if we alienate them from the Middle East, like, we're done. Like, they're our only stable ally in the Middle East, and we need them. So I don't know why people are out there talking like, you know, we should cut Israel out of the picture, because they're a big part of it. Egypt, on the other hand, I mean, they just had a revolution in Egypt, right? And we're giving them $1.3 billion in military aid. Like, what? Like,
I don't know.
I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure the aid that we gave them was used against the people who were protesting when the Arab Spring started. But now we look into this chart, right? We dig deeper, and we are giving aid to lots of countries around the world.
Oh, I mean, how many countries do you think are here? 50?
I'd say maybe 30.
30?
I don't know how many there are. There are a good amount.
There
are some. I mean, Georgia, $12 million. Kazakhstan, $1.5 million. Uzbekistan, $1.5 million. Mongolia, $2.4 million. Like, what are we giving these? Why are we giving them stuff?
And what I don't get is, all right, we're here at Timor-Leste. Never heard of it a day in my life. Never heard of that country. Yet we give them, all right, it's a small number, but $300,000 a year in military aid. Okay, what does that get you? What does $300,000 get you? What is that? How is that going to help you? Why not we keep that money, okay, and we use it for our own military, or we use it to help our own problems. All right? We got, what are we, $16 trillion in the hole right now? Maybe we should start thinking about ourselves a little bit. And let's go back to, what can you buy at the military aid store? All right, the average...
To more or less, before you finish that, to more or less, their population is less than the city of Philadelphia.
I don't know. There's no point. There's no point in giving them money. We want to be nice.
They use the U.S. dollar as a currency.
Okay.
And...
where even is that? Where is Timor-Leste?
It's east of Indonesia.
Okay. All right. Well, to get back to the military aid store, a tank, which I didn't know it was this expensive. A tank costs $65 million to make with basic equipment. Now
we don't want basic equipment. No, we want.
You want the American souped up, extra armor, extra weapons, extra sights, extra, just bald eagle American.
Yeah.
It's going to be costing you $120 million. So,
okay.
I mean, you could be buying, 30 or so tanks and be, you're having a good day if you're getting $3.1 billion. And those are some pretty souped up tanks. But, just look at these numbers. Pakistan, we're giving them $280 million. Moldova, we're giving them $1.3 million. Yemen, we're giving them $20 million. I mean, this is adding up. This is a lot of money.
It is. Absolutely.
We're probably adding all this together. We're upwards of close to probably, $5, $6, $7 billion. And I mean, I just don't understand where we're pulling this money in and we're thinking that we can just give it out.
Right. I mean,
what are we getting in return?
Oh, yeah, right.
That's
exactly.
my thing. What are we getting in return? We're doing all this for you. What are you doing for us?
Philippines, $50 million. What do the Philippines give us?
Nothing, except the occasional American flag that they make for us.
And Vietnam, $10 million. This, I think, one of the bigger issues that I think this brings up is just the influence that the U.S. has around the world, right?
Yeah.
Our money is going to all these different places, right? We're in Africa, Asia, we're in South America. I mean, we give money to all these places and they still hate us.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is...
What gives?
My thing is, what happens when we just say, all right, enough's enough, and we stop giving money to these countries?
Right.
All right. Now, granted, I agree. We got to keep giving money to Israel. We got to keep giving, Egypt, what have you. That's your own opinion. But all these small countries that, we're giving only $1 million or so to, what happens when we say no more for them? I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they're not going to come fight us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not going to happen. That's why you're coming to us, because you need help.
Yeah. I know. What are they going to... I mean...
There's not much they can do.
No. I mean, I don't know what does Georgia need $12 million from us for?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
What does Indonesia? $14 million. Yemen, $20 million.
Now, is this money going to, help fund their soldiers, like salary-wise, or is this for equipment use, or...
So the article talks about just like what some of this money goes for, and basically the U.S. Embassy in Cairo Twitter account tweeted out, just delivered 5 M1A1 Abrams tank turrets to Egypt this week, with 14 more coming this month. So that's weaponry. U.S. delivered 8 new F-16s to the Egyptian Air Force this week. Watch them fly over Cairo.
So yeah, they're using it for like advanced warfare,
right?
Abram tanks, F-16s.
So they're saying how it's disproportionate. This article talks about how it's disproportionate to Israel and Egypt when we look at how the problem of ISIS and the Taliban in Afghanistan and then China, everything that's going on with China, but yet we still continue to give to this. Do you agree? Should Israel get $3.1 billion? Do you think that's
should
valid?
Egypt?
No, Israel.
Oh, Israel. That much? Probably not. But should we be giving them a good amount? Yes.
Should they, from all the countries on this map, should they be getting the most?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we look at...
They're our ally. We got to look out for our own.
Right. How much should Egypt get?
Egypt? Not 1.3 billion. I can tell you that. Maybe 100 million.
Okay.
Maybe. With that whole revolution that went on there, we're feeding them $1.3 billion. How do we know that it's going to the right thing,
Right, exactly.
We could be funding...
We could be funding
an attack on us. We could be we could be funding an attack on us.
Look at Osama bin Laden, right? Yeah. He fought us with our own stuff. Yeah. We trained him when he was with the Mujahideen.
Dude, I mean, we had with a couple years back, like 5-6 years ago, America does not have good track of keeping an eye on their own things.
Oh no!
Back a couple years back when we were trying to take down the cartels, we had Operation Fast and Furious with
the guns.
We sold guns to cartels in efforts that they would get to the kingpins, that we'd be able to track them down. Well, guess what? We lost track of them, and they used them against us and killed how many federal agents and countless other innocent people. So obviously we don't have a good record of keeping track of our own money and well-being and things along those lines. So how do we know that this $1.3 billion that we're giving to Egypt and that we're giving to Iraq and we're giving to Pakistan, how do we know that it's going to the good causes that we're trying to fund?
Well, look at what happened with ISIS in Iraq. I mean, we left Iraq and we just thought it'd be a good idea to just leave everything there.
Yeah.
It's like, you're done playing in the sandbox and you leave all your stuff there. You go home and then you get angry when a kid takes your stuff for themselves.
And you think, my mommy will pick it up. Well, we don't have a mommy, America. We are mommy. We got to take care of our own, okay?
Yeah. So actually, with the Fast and Furious, was you mentioning that, very interestingly, Mexico gets $7 million.
That's where I didn't even see that.
Mexico off in the Latin America section. Look at Egypt and go to the left. It's like small chunk.
Oh wow, yeah, look at that.
$7 million to Mexico.
And how about 1.6 to Haiti?
Yeah.
Even that number, that strikes a nerve for me, because I mean, what does Haiti do for us? Listen, I know that with
$300,000 to Senegal.
Yeah.
Again, back to what you said earlier, what does $300,000 get you? Does that get you like a wing of a plane or something? like tools? Like maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's tools to fix their own stuff.
I don't know. Maybe it buys you like a couple rounds for your tanks or something like that. But
do these countries ever remember this when we ask if we ever need their help?
I don't know. Do they? I just have so many questions for this.
This is one of Rand Paul's big things. He would not give foreign aid to any country that says death to America or burns our flag.
Why should we?
Right.
Why should we? And I respect that policy of his that he would implement. And I agree with it. And how many like I said, like this Timor-Leste, this country, I just can't wrap my head around it. That I've never heard of this country, but we're paying $300,000 to them per year for a population that is less than Philadelphia. Why can't we take that $300,000, okay, and maybe put it into the Philadelphia public school system so we can better our own country?
Or any school system. Yeah. Or something like Social Security.
Yeah.
Or something like paying down the debt. And not just paying the interest.
Yeah, and not just paying the interest.
How about we reevaluate all of these countries and say, hey, let's pick 5.
See, I wonder if this is just like a set amount that they give every year, or every 5 years they readjust and say, okay, let's reassess how much we've given them, how much they actually use, how much do they have left over, okay? And I wonder if they do that.
So Benjamin Netanyahu was in Washington this week, and the article says that he was talking to Obama about a military aid package that he hopes could eventually reach $50 billion.
Billion with a B.
With a B.
Where does he think we have that kind of money?
I don't know.
We're not made of money. We are actually the complete opposite. We are $16 trillion in debt here, people. We even said that we're not going to worry about our debt. We're only going to pay the interest.
Right. And so then it goes on to say how Egypt has now become an authoritarian regime, and it says hundreds of Muslim Brotherhood supporters were slaughtered. Some dissidents have been detained or disappeared, and now they have there are human rights questions surrounding them, and they're getting over $1 billion. Doesn't that say, does U.S. giving money to each of these countries say we support what's going on in that country?
Pretty much it does. It does. And that's not good.
No.
That's not good at all. We're giving $1.3 billion to
a regime that may very well be killing people right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like, why?
I don't know.
We shouldn't be, I said $100 million maybe be giving to them, but they shouldn't get a red cent from us.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
I mean, hey, if they have any sort of human rights violations, we're not giving them anything.
Yeah. That's what we have to take into account. If they have,
because at the end of the day, our name is attached to all this stuff.
We America's giving out blood money pretty much.
Yeah.
That's why some of these natives in these countries hate us, because they see that we're funding, their so-called government, but it's going out to these radical groups and that they're killing the natives. And that's why people hate us. That's why they're burning our flags, because we're giving money to thugs.
Yeah. So let's stop giving money to thugs.
Yeah.
Let's reevaluate how we do this thing.
Put the foot down.
That's right.
And do the right thing.
Yeah, we got to get this figured out. So hopefully something will come soon. And just remember that we need to protect Israel, because they are really our only ally in that region. But certainly some things do need to be reevaluated. I don't know why $20 million is going to Yemen.
I still understand why $300,000 is going to Timor-Leste.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with this, if anything. And if Israel gets what they want over the course of 10 years, $50 billion, that would be an astronomical increase from their 3.1 that they have right now. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here on Rational Radio, but we will be right back talking about more news of the day. If you ever want to call in, the number 215-204-9447. We'll see you on the other side.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park? Getting frisky in the dark, I gave your eye a poke. I think the dog is also in the bed. Do I smell smoke? You and me, we never give up, you and me. We never ever ever give up. Getting hot and heavy with the whipped cream that we bought, undressing in the kitchen and then getting caught. So many things can go wrong, but we still can get it right. You and me, we're not gonna give up tonight.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices and put the bogus myths to bed at bedsider.org.
Boy, we got options tonight.
Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what living united feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You must be your fairy godmother?
In the classic fairy tale, Cinderella's dream comes true because the glass slipper fits.
It fits.
In our world, the right fit can be just as important.
Good heavens, child. You can't go in that.
Especially when it comes to car seats. Always choose a car seat that's the right fit for your child's age and size.
Oh, that does make a difference.
To make sure your little pumpkin gets there safely every time.
Hop in, dear. Thank you.
Remember, you're responsible for protecting your children. Their happily ever afters are in your hands. For even more information about choosing the right car seat, Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. This message has been brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm so glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Oh, barf. What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out! Look out!
Oh my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay?
My arm. I think it's broken.
Can you bend it?
It's already bent. In the wrong direction.
I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious. Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Hey, it's Nicole from Chew in the Morning on Mix 106, and you're listening to WHIP.
Welcome back, iHeartRadio listeners, to Rational Radio here on WHIP. And it's about that time, folks. You know, check your wallet because you know what, Ryan? How's my money looking?
It is not good.
Oh, man.
Not good
I was so
all.
hyped coming in from that song. I love that song. Coming in so hype, ready to go.
No, as of right now, the S&P 500 is down 4 points, the Dow down 37, NASDAQ down 10, with the headline on Yahoo Finance that Macy's tanks. Macy's, yup. And basically it goes on to talk about on their website, Walmart labor activists demand employee discount on food. Okay. And FanDuel and DraftKings are vowing to fight New York's halt on their betting service.
Yeah, I did hear that.
So that will be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
But we're going to move into our next topic, isn't that right?
And, of course, who is it about? In the news, as always, Sir Donald Trump. So Donald Trump was on MSNBC's Morning Joe the other day with co-host Micah Brzezinski. And pretty much, you know, Trump's big thing in this whole race has been about his immigration and what he's going to do with immigrants coming into this country and how he's going to handle the illegals that are in this country right now. So what he plans on doing is he wants to deport them. Everyone knows that. And so on Morning Joe, he pretty much went out and said what he plans on doing if he gets elected to the presidency, so on and so forth. So this is what Micah said on Morning Joe. He said, Trump, you're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely. Trump said, don't forget, Micah, that you have millions of people that are waiting in line to come into this country, and they're waiting to come legally. And I always say the wall. We're going to build the wall. It's going to be a real deal, and it's going to be a real wall. Now, I've always, when I kept saying he's going to build this wall, I was always skeptical. Is he really going to do this? Is this really going to be a concrete wall that's going to spread all across the Rio Grande between the border of Mexico and the United States? Is this going to be a real thing? And I'm starting to believe that it is. Yeah. I mean, he's so adamant about this, very adamant about it. And now he's taking it to the point that once I build this wall, and even before, I'm going to have a task force here in America that's going to round up all the illegals, and I'm going to kick you out. Also, if your kid was born here, but you're an illegal, I'm doing away with that policy. You're not an American if you were born here, but your parents weren't. You have to come in legally. And I respect it. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
So I think something definitely needs to be done about the illegal immigration situation in this country. I don't think that it's good that we just have a steady stream of people. I recognize the fact that people are leaving whatever country it might be, Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I recognize that they're leaving that country because there is an issue there.
Yes.
And I recognize the fact that they are looking for a better life for themselves and their family. That's great. But you can come in here legally.
Yeah, why do you have to do it under the radar?
Right. Come in here legally.
We're welcoming you. We're not saying you can't come in.
Right. Yeah, we're not saying that this is an end to immigration. Like, hey, we're like done. Like, hey, for the next 5 years, nobody's going to come in. No, because I mean, what does that do? Then people are still coming in, right? I mean, we keep talking about illegal immigration and nothing ever gets done. But I do think that something needs to be done to solidify the borders, because we can't have situations like what we have right now where people are just streaming across the borders.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, this is not. Well, you're against immigrants. No, it's not that. It's I would like immigrants to come here, but I would like to do so legally. People talk about being a country of immigrants. I mean, if you're immigrants, if your ancestors came here from anywhere in Europe, they did so legally. Because one, you couldn't really get here illegally unless you kind of got on a ship or whatever.
You were stowaway or something.
Right, they came through. Lots of them came through Ellis Island.
Yep,
came through and they saw the Statue of Liberty. Right, and it was for them. It was a journey. They knew they had reached it.
It was a dream. It was the American dream.
It was not. We reached this land. Now let's run from the police.
Yes.
It was, we're here, we're ready to start our life.
They established roots here.
Right.
Is the difference between the people who came in the early 20th century as compared to now. And you're right. People come here nowadays and they got their eyes in the back of their head now because they're always watching.
Right.
They're looking for...
look at Arizona. They're passing laws saying that you have to walk around with papers in your pocket.
Yeah.
And what good does that do the person if for the rest of their life they're looking behind their shoulder to see if anybody's watching them or coming to get them? So no, I would advocate a system. A lot of people have suggested running for president, have suggested like an E-Verify system to track kind of like where they go, like how they're employed and kind of what they're doing. That might cost a little bit of money to set up.
Yeah, and we know how well government-run websites go.
Exactly. But they, as Donald Trump said, as other people have said, between 11 and 31 million illegal immigrants here, I don't think it's feasible to round them all up.
No, it's not going to happen.
First, before he could even do that, I believe that there would be a court challenge in one of the states.
Yeah.
Whichever one it may be, I believe there would be a challenge from the courts, and I believe that they would ask the Supreme Court to issue an injunction against the administration to prevent them from going further until they have a chance to review it. Because here, even if someone is an illegal immigrant, they still have to go through, you have to go through the court process before they are deported.
Yeah.
So it is an incredible waste of money, I think, to do that.
And my thing is, how is he going to round up these people? What is this just going to be like a lawless roundup group that's just going to go pounding on doors looking for answers?
Right, because then you have a whole civil rights question that gets involved.
Hey, listen, I'm all for Donald Trump, but I don't want him and his men come pounding on my doors with ARs saying, "Hey, give us your immigrants," because I don't have them. Right. I love him, but I don't want him pounding on my door.
Yeah,
because I'm not hiding anybody, but. So I hope he does it in a way, because I support what he's doing. I hope he does it in a way that's good.
Yeah. So, well, we have about 5 minutes left. We're going to transition into another topic just briefly here, maybe get some thoughts on it, and then we'll close out the show. This is something that I came across today when I was just looking through the headlines, and it is a story from Action News in Pittsburgh. And they led this investigation, and it looked into how here in Pennsylvania, there are teachers and people who have worked in schools convicted of rape, child pornography, and murder that are still receiving their pensions.
Oof. Filth.
Right? And
scum of the earth.
And so this article says that it's because of a loophole in the state pension law that's currently on the books. And so it's interesting. It really goes into talk about this. It names this one teacher, Henry South, from McKeesport, and he was convicted of 10 counts of child pornography. He had to register as a sex offender.
Oh, God.
And
10 counts?
Yeah. And that did not stop him from collecting a monthly pension of over $2,000.
That's just wrong. That's so bad.
Walter Street from Avonworth. He was a music teacher, convicted of raping an unconscious child, aggravated indecent assault, corruption of minors, among other things. He still gets a pension of over $3,300.
I don't understand how could this loophole even be there?
Right.
And if it is, why not take it off right away? Do something to fix it, because you got scum of the earth who are cashing in on it.
Yeah. And so basically the law was changed. This article says that the law was changed about regarding pension forfeiture. And it includes some sex crimes, this article says, but if you were hired before that law was put in place,
there it is.
Then you're exempt from it. And so, yeah.
Well,
so if you were hired after a decade ago, prior to this new law amendment taking effect, then you're exempt from. Then it doesn't even affect you. And there are lots of teachers that are out there that were hired more than a decade ago.
Oh yeah, and I feel like a lot of the teachers nowadays who are getting in these scandals are the younger ones. Don't you think? Don't you feel like
a lot of the times, yeah, we're starting to see in the news teacher accused of having sex with student.
Yeah.
We are starting to see that. Not frequently, but more so than I remember.
Yeah.
In the past, yeah, and so even teachers that were charged with murder. I mean, there was this article talks about a guy who walked into a church, and he killed someone. He's in prison.
A church?
Yeah, and he's in prison for the rest of his life.
And he's still making money.
And he's still getting his pension.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly. They said, does that even make sense?
That's like me embezzling millions of dollars from my company, and then after they fire me, they're just like, we'll still give you your salary.
Right.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, it makes no sense. It's a disgrace, really.
Yeah.
I hope people get on that and change that, because...
Yeah, so the guy killed his ex-wife.
Okay.
In church.
Wow. That's a bold move.
Yeah, sentenced to life without parole, and so he gets a pension check for over $2,500 every single month.
For sitting in jail.
For the rest of his life. He killed somebody, and he's still getting his pension.
And he's getting paid.
What is up with that? We talk about our pension problem. Well, how about let's get rid of this? Get rid of this. We're $2 billion in the hole with pensions, but this isn't helping the fact that you have murderers that are still getting a pension,
and yet we can't fund schools for textbooks. We can't give people, the list goes on of what we could be doing with that money right now.
Yeah. So honestly, this needs to be something that is looked into, because that it is just not.
It's not okay.
Acceptable. That those kinds of people are still getting money from the state. And what kind of amendment, what kind of thing does that? An amendment that you say, this only affects people from here on out.
That's what I was going to say.
Get rid of it completely.
How can you say, like, if you were a pedophile 12 years ago, you're okay. Don't worry about it. We're still paying you.
But now from here on out.
From here on out, no, you're not okay.
Right.
Like, really? Being a pedophile 12 years ago is okay than being a pedophile 9 years ago?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't know why they couldn't just change it outright. Just get rid of it. Even just rewrite it.
I don't know.
Any sort of crime like that, any sort of felony, you should not.
Yeah, you shouldn't get paid.
Right.
You're a criminal.
Anything that is not eligible for you to have expunged from your record, that a judge will say, yes, this is okay to not show up on a background check, should be grounds for not getting a pension.
Yes.
Why is the state still paying these people money?
I don't know. I don't know.
This dude is a murderer. He is sitting in prison getting $2,500. He killed his ex-wife in church.
I don't know. I'm actually physically trying to calm myself down right now so I don't get too heated, because we only have 3 minutes left, and I'm about ready to hop out of my seat and go off right now, but I can't.
Go off. You have 30 seconds.
No, it's not enough time. It's not enough time.
All right, fine.
It's not enough time.
Fine.
It would have been a legendary 30 seconds. Let me tell you that.
Hey, you still got it if you want to take it.
Okay, all right. So you know what? You're going to have a guy who's sitting in prison, who has killed somebody, who has raped somebody, who is sitting on stacks of child porn, and you're going to pay that man? Are you kidding me? Like, come on. What is wrong with this country? What is happening with our state that we can't put food on a table for someone who deserves it, who's out there getting job applications after job applications, but can't get a job, and we can't put textbooks in front of our kids who are now leaving school, joining gangs, selling drugs, but we can't sit down, find we've put loopholes into our laws, and we're paying people for no good reason for doing horrific crimes. What is going on with this country? Make America great again. Come on, people.
All right, that was 41 seconds. You went over your time.
I told you it wasn't enough time. I told you.
All right, well, we're going to end on that. Hopefully this gets changed because this is despicable. We talk about pension problems. Well, let's look at stop giving pensions to people who commit felonies, okay? That's just going to about do it for us on Rational Radio here on this Wednesday afternoon. Be sure to tune in tomorrow and Friday from 3 to 4 as we're talking about all the day's big stories. We will see you then. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.